They buried kitchen scraps in the backyard and harvested more food than their neighbors. And nobody talks about it anymore. Your grandmother didn't throw away the coffee grounds. She hid them. And what she did with them in the garden, nobody tells that story anymore. I want you to think about something for a second. Visualize the trash in your kitchen right now. The morning coffee grounds. 2 or 3 eggshells in the sink. Maybe a banana peel or 2. Most people look at that and see trash. But there was a generation of American farmers, people who lived through the Great Depression, who pulled food from rock-hard soil in rural Tennessee, eastern Kentucky, the Red Hills of Alabama, who looked at that same pile of scraps and saw gold. Real garden gold. They didn't have money for fertilizer. They didn't have a truck to run to the garden center. They had what was in the kitchen, what was in the yard, and what their grandparents had taught them. And they fed entire families during the worst economic collapse this country has ever seen. So today I'm going to show you exactly what they did. 3 kitchen scraps. A simple method. And a piece of soil that will never be the same again. But there's one thing I need you to stay here to see, because about halfway through the video I'm going to show you something that even the most experienced gardeners have never heard of. Something that takes this entire method and doubles the result. So don't go anywhere yet. Let's start with the soil problem. The real problem, the one that nobody in the gardening world wants to honestly admit. Most American backyards have dead soil. Not poor. Dead. Decades of lawn chemicals, compaction from footsteps, rain washing away the topsoil, zero organic matter being returned to the earth. You can dump a whole bag of store-bought fertilizer in there and in 3 weeks it will be the same, hard, pale, lifeless. Because the problem isn't the nutrients. The problem is that the soil has no life in it. No microbes. No fungi. No earthworms. Nothing to process nutrients and deliver them to the roots of plants. You can feed dead soil all day and it just sits there. Old farmers understood this in a way that most modern gardeners simply don't. They didn't feed the plants. They fed the soil. And the soil fed the plants. That's the whole secret. The whole philosophy in 2 sentences. Feed the soil, not the plant. Now let me show you how 3 pieces of kitchen waste do exactly that. The first is coffee grounds. Now, you've probably heard someone say to throw coffee grounds in the garden. But what most people don't know, and this is where it gets interesting, is that it's not about the nitrogen. Yes, coffee grounds have nitrogen. But the real power is microbial. Coffee grounds are like a magnet for beneficial soil bacteria. They create a warm, slightly acidic, carbon-rich environment that awakens microbial activity even in the most depleted soil you've ever seen. Farmers in the Appalachian region during the Depression era saved every drop of used coffee grounds and worked them directly into the top 5 inches of their vegetable beds every week. Not thrown on top. Worked in. Mixed in. That distinction is huge, and I'll explain why in a minute. The second ingredient is eggshells. And again, most people know that eggshells have calcium. Okay. But here's what they don't know. Crushed eggshells, when buried in the soil, do something almost mechanical to compacted clay soil. As they slowly decompose over weeks, they physically open up the soil structure. They create micro-air pockets. They allow water to penetrate instead of running off. And in doing so, they create space, literal physical space, for roots to grow, spread, and seek nutrients that were previously completely out of reach. Farmers in the southern United States crushed eggshells and buried them around the roots of their tomato plants every spring. Not as a supplement. As soil infrastructure. Think about that for a second. They were building the physical structure of the earth with kitchen waste. That's genius. The third ingredient is banana peel. And this one is going to surprise you. Because banana peel isn't about one thing. It's about 3 at once. Potassium, phosphorus, and magnesium, the 3 minerals that garden plants consume the most and that modern American soils are most deficient in. When you bury a green banana peel about 10 centimeters deep near the roots of a plant, it begins to slowly release these minerals over 2 to 3 weeks. Native American farmers in the Prairie Belt, Oklahoma, Kansas, parts of Nebraska, had a version of this long before anyone wrote about organic gardening. They buried leftover fruit directly at the bases of the 3 brothers. Corn, beans, squash. And they noticed that the plants around these spots always grew stronger, produced earlier, and withstood the summer heat better. Now let's get to the method. And pay attention here because the sequence matters. First, you're going to gather these 3 ingredients over the course of a week. It doesn't have to be much. A handful of coffee grounds, 4 or 5 eggshells, 2 banana peels. That's enough for a garden bed of approximately 1 square meter. Second, grind everything together. You can use a cheap food processor, a wooden mortar and pestle, or simply put it in a plastic bag and crush it with your hands. You want the pieces to be small but not powdery. Third, and this is the step most people get wrong when they hear this recipe, you don't put this on top of the soil. You dig small trenches about 8 to 10 centimeters deep in the garden bed, distribute the mixture along these trenches, and cover it back with soil. Why? Because on the surface, the sun dries it quickly, the birds turn it over, and decomposition happens the wrong way, into the air instead of the soil. When you bury it, the moisture accelerates decomposition, microbes have immediate access, and nutrients go straight to where the roots are. Fourth step, water. Water well after burying. You want to activate the process immediately. Now, I said I had something special saved for the middle of the video. And the time has come. Here's what practically nobody else does, and it's by far the most powerful part of all this. The old Appalachian farmers had a name for it. They called it living bed. After burying the mixture, they covered the entire surface of the garden bed with a thin layer of damp straw or damp dry leaves. Not thick. Thin, like about 3 centimeters. And then, here's the secret part, they would add a small amount of soil from a spot in the yard where there were active earthworms. A spoonful or 2 thrown on top of the straw. This introduced an active microbial colony directly into that environment you just created with the kitchen scraps. The combination, organic scraps buried below, damp straw creating stable moisture and temperature on top, live microbes introduced to the surface, created a chain of decomposition and nutrition that worked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, completely on its own. Without you needing to do anything else. The soil would start to change in less than 2 weeks. And in 30 days, the difference was visible to the naked eye. I saw this working in a backyard garden bed in Ohio in early fall. Soil that had been compacted and gray for years. After 4 weeks using exactly this method, coffee grounds, eggshells, banana peels buried in the soil, damp straw on top, the soil was dark, loose, smelled like fresh earth after the rain, and teeming with earthworms. And the plants? The tomatoes that were struggling to survive in that garden bed started pushing out new growth in 10 days. Not because you dumped chemicals on them, but because the soil was finally alive again. That's what that lost generation of American farmers knew that we've forgotten. That the land doesn't need products. It needs to be treated like a living being. Fed with organic matter. Structured to breathe. Filled with microbial life. When you do that, even with kitchen scraps, even without spending a penny, the land responds. It always has. And it will continue to respond. Now tell me something in the comments. Which of the 3 ingredients did you never imagine was so powerful? Coffee grounds, eggshells, or banana peels? I want to know. And if you have a backyard trick you learned from someone older, from your grandparents, from an old neighbor, write it down here. That kind of knowledge can't die in the comments of a video. It needs to be passed on. If this video taught you something you didn't know before, and I bet it did, hit the like button now. Not for the algorithm, but because this knowledge deserves to reach more people who are paying fortunes for fertilizer unnecessarily. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now is the time. Because what's coming in the next videos goes far beyond kitchen scraps. We're going deep into the techniques the Amish still use today, the methods Native American farmers developed over centuries, and the secrets of food survival that Depression families took to the grave without telling anyone. Everything simple. Everything cheap. Everything works. See you in the next land.